final chapter, and yes, unfortunately, it is our final chapter for the semester. We're going to be going over chapter 20. Chapter 20 deals with the gastrointestinal tract. Okay, this is the tube that starts at your lips and ends at your anus, and is everything in between. Everything that's associated, feeds into, pulls things out of your gastrointestinal tract. A lot of times when you say gastrointestinal tract, the GI tract, fortunately, a lot of people, a lot of clinicians a lot of biologists, they seem to think that the GI tract is the small and large intestine only. And that's incorrect. That's the enteric tract, primarily the large intestine, the small intestines in there. But we have to keep in mind, whatever's in your mouth will feed directly to your stomach. Stomach to the small intestine to the large intestine, to the rectum, out the anus. We also have to take into account the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, because these are also not interacting directly with the gastrointestinal tract. Anything absorbed by the small intestine, the large intestine, is immediately trafficked via your circulatory system to the liver. The liver absorbs, detoxifies, removes things that should not be exposed to the rest of the body. As the liver pulls these out, detoxifies them, it excretes them out as part of the bile, which goes to the gallbladder, stored there in the gallbladder until it's dumped into the small intestine. So, as it is, we are going to not only look at the tract itself, but we're going to be looking at the accessory organs, salivary glands, liver, gallbladder, and such. We're going to be discussing over this series of lectures for this chapter the normal flora you would find in starting at your mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and the perianal region. Because of its job, the gastrointestinal tract, taking in food, large chunks of food, physically breaking it down, masticating it via you chewing, the stomach beginning carrying out a enzymatic digestive process. We are constantly introducing foreign microbes into our gastrointestinal tract. Everything you eat, everything you drink has microbes growing in it or on it. You're constantly swallowing oral microbes. So what you need to have is some competition down there already. So that's what those microorganisms are there for. They're there for competition. They also are there to help us break down polysaccharides and things that we personally do not have the enzymes for. Now we have many defenses, okay? Starting at your mouth all the way through your anus, the gastrointestinal tract has a coating of mucus, a layer of mucus that helps the food, that bolus of food, the food you ate at dinner tonight or lunch today, as it moves through, it helps, lubricate, keep it moving. Well, that thin layer of mucus also minimizes the number of bacteria that can stick to the alveoli of your small intestine. Minimize the number of microbes that can stick to the epithelial lining of your large intestine. You're excreting antibodies, IgA. Your IgA is one of your excretory antibodies that is released in saliva and tears and mucus. Those antibodies will bind up microbes, coat them, what they refer to as opsonize them, so that the bacteria are incapable of direct contact with the epithelial lining your gastrointestinal tract. They can't, no contact, no ability to stay. They just move out with the rest of the food. That peristalsis keeps everything moving. Any interruption to peristalsis will allow the food to sit there for too long. And it'll start to break down more and more. More gas, more nutrients will become available for the microbes, and it'll allow them to start breaking down that mucus lining and start colonizing where they shouldn't be. Just under the surface, the epithelial lining of your gastrointestinal tract, you are going to have a layer of lymphatic tissue known as GALT, gut-associated lymphoid tissue. These are going to be your GI tract's version of lymph nodes. Same lymph nodes you have under your jaw, your armpits, your groin. You're going to have similar structures, lining, running along your small and large intestine, so that if anything is able to get by the epithelial lining, get into the underlying mucosa, you're going to have B cells and T cells sitting there waiting. I mean, actually, that starts, as the textbook points out, starts up at your mouth. That's what your tonsils are, GALT tissue. They're lymphatic tissue housing B cells and T cells. So anything, not you, that macrophages and dendritic cells pick up, they will deliver to your tonsils. So that way, that's your first line of defense for your mouth. Well, you have the same functioning all along your small intestine, seated around your small intestine, seated around your large intestine. So anything that gets into your tissues will be taken to a GALT site, and your immune system will learn it and begin mounting a defense.